Well, good evening. How are you all tonight? Welcome to Integrative Preparedness. I'm Steve Smith. My voice is a little raspy because I've been doing stuff all day and I'm a little tired. First off, I want to thank everyone from whom I've received emails and messages, especially over on the Patreon channel where people can message me and such. Thank you for all your well wishes, all your thoughts and prayers. I really appreciate it. I haven't had a chance to get around to answer everybody yet, or to whatever. But I think I've read most of them. I'm trying to catch up. It's been well over a week since I've made a video, and I'm going to touch on that. I explained it to everybody on Patreon. Was it yesterday or the day before? I forget. I'll touch on it a little bit here. No reason to get into details, but it has to do with kind of a lesson that I wanted to talk about tonight. And that the lesson is a question, and that is, are you ready to die? It's an important question. It's not a question that I throw out there to try to, drive some emotional response. It's a serious question that needs to be considered by everyone, and I don't think that it's considered by a lot of people in the preparedness world. Now, I think it's considered by most people on this channel. I'll be real honest. This channel, I make no bones about it. I read the comments on our channels, both here on YouTube and on Patreon, and the difference between the comments there and the comments that I see on other channels. Hey, I'm just going to say right up, it's different. It's a different world. If you're new to us here, it's great to have you. You're going to find that we are a channel for serious preppers or preparedness-minded people. We are a channel for thoughtful people. We're not a channel where we get on here and tell you what you need to be just scared, out of your wits today, and it's something new yesterday, and it's something new tomorrow, and it's all this. That's not serious preparedness. That's ridiculousness. Okay. So if you're new to us and you like that, welcome. It's when I thought about, I've had a lot of time to think. Went in the hospital about, over a week ago. Was it a week ago? Yeah, over a week ago. For some surgery. And thought everything got taken care of. And the next day started experiencing some problems, some really, really severe problems. Went back in the hospital, through the ER, spent the last several days in the hospital with a fever. To be honest, I wasn't thinking too clearly. I haven't done squat in a week. I've got messages piling up, and I'm going to get back to everybody. But now I'm back, and I think everything has been taken care of. Now to talk about, and thank you again for your thoughts and prayers. I'm drinking a Yingling tonight out of my new favorite mug. You all seen that mug, right? Right? You remember that? Semper Paratus on the handle, always prepared, always ready. Stonemont Pine Tree, where life is good. Yes, sir. And I talked about this, I think, before I went in the hospital. Might have to take a couple more of those during this. About 7 weeks ago, I had a medical emergency that I almost put off too long. They said that I put it off much longer. It could have been life-threatening. They were able to take care of it at that point because I got there. I didn't hold off too long, and the reason that I didn't is because I had a good friend of mine die just a few years ago because he tried to be too tough and didn't let his wife take him to the ER in time. And by the time he let her take him, it was too late. I tried to be smarter than that. I wasn't much smarter than that, but at least I was smart enough. Okay, So they took care of that, but in the aftermath of that, they discovered some other things. And in that, it was a blessing in disguise. It took 6 weeks before I was able to get in for the surgery that would correct the problem. I just recently got, well, let me put it this way. There's no reason to get into details on this. Everything's going to be fine. That's it. But during that 6 weeks, because there were some potentially serious implications, I spent a lot of that time thinking. Some of you might remember, I think I said it in one of the videos that I put on YouTube, as well as Patreon, is that I recently counseled a young couple who were thinking about getting married. And I explained to each of them that the responsibilities, there were 4 main responsibilities for a husband, a wife, a mother, a father, and they were the same responsibilities for both, though each might do them a little bit differently. But those responsibilities were to provide, protect, to love, and to lead. And each person must do the absolute best they can at each of those. And if you fall short on any of those, you have fallen short. And it's your responsibility to do it. And the other person has to kind of, pick up the load if you've dropped some of yours. And that's not right. You need to do your best. As I was thinking about this, over the last 6 weeks before I got into surgery, I did my own self-evaluation. And I looked at whether, if I wasn't going to be here any longer, how I had done to prepare my wife and kids to be able to do well, but have I prepared for them to be without me? Simple as that. And so I went through each of those, and I looked at it, and I said, well, okay, now I'll say this now. For those of you who are believers, and you know that I am, we know that there's only one thing we need to be set spiritually for in order to die, and that is our faith in Jesus Christ and our acceptance of Him as our personal Savior. If you're a believer, you know that. If you are not, I hope that you will discover that. I encourage you not to repulse it. I encourage you not to keep it away, but consider it, look into it. But I looked at each one of those responsibilities. They're like the legs on a 4-legged stool. If you fall short on one, that stool's not going to set right. And so the first was to provide. Now, I have provided for my family while I'm here. The situation is, have I set things up? This is the questions that I'm asking myself, and I would suggest you ask yourself these. Have I set things up so that they will continue to be provided for if I'm no longer here? Years and years ago, I set up multiple income streams. I know, and it's very sad that many preppers don't like to hear this. I'll tell people here who may be watching this on YouTube. The prepper community has many faults, and among those, and no, not as a community, but there are many strange ideas. And one is a kind of a lone wolf-ism. Another is that a lot of them are they don't get along with their families. Or they don't like their family don't like them, whatever. Whatever their dynamics or issues is, I have no idea. That's too bad. Because a strong family, next to your relationship with God Himself, is your absolute foundational preparedness stone. Okay? So, too many people don't think about providing for this ongoing. And there's a lot of short-sighted people in the preparedness world. And so, as I said, for those of you who are not with us on Patreon, only hear it here, you come to our Patreon channel, you will find people who are exemplary examples, who show this in an exemplary fashion. They talk about it in the comment section. They put their information in the member post section. How they have developed their financial stability, their preparedness stability, to make sure that things are going well, whether they're here or not. Okay, so I went through that, and we've established several family businesses that will continue whether I'm here or not, and will continue to provide for the family. That was number one, so I was fine with that. Number two, protect. I'm here to protect my family while I'm here, and whenever I'm around, or wherever, we're at the house. We can't protect people when they're not with us, but I leave it up to the good Lord, and I pray to Him every day to watch over my wife and kids, and I'm sure most of you do too. But I have taught them, as much as their interest at their ages now, and you can't force this stuff on people, it doesn't work, to be able to protect themselves. So to that extent, I have accomplished that, to the extent that I can at this time. That doesn't mean that it's as much as I want to. Love. Okay, we are an I love you family. None of them get out of this house. I don't care where they're going, school, work, Kelly going to the store, whatever it is, without me getting up from my desk or whatever, meeting them at the door, grabbing them around the neck, giving them a kiss, and saying, I love you. That's not everybody's way, but it's our way. When the day comes and I'm not here anymore, they'll remember that. They won't have to wonder if Dad loved them. They won't have to say, well, I know my dad loved me. He never said so, but, he worked hard and all this kind of stuff. Well, that's good. I mean, you got to work hard. But we're big on that. We're big on I love you, and I suggest you not be too stingy with them, So love, yeah. And there's something else. Well, I'll wait for that, because it has to do with my books. And then lead. Whether it's in our family church, whether it's every day, my kids will tell you that, to me, I think everything is a life lesson. And that's true, because everything is a life lesson, including what I was experiencing for the last 6 weeks. And our ability to lead and our function as leaders comes from, our experience, our spiritual direction, our understanding, our common sense, our willingness to accept that responsibility of leadership, and the determination to fulfill that responsibility. And to that end, I try to pack every lesson I can into the time that I have. I realized how that sounded. No, I haven't been given some. No, it's not like, Steve, have you just been given a certain number of nuts? No, I intend to die at 120, drinking Yingling out of this mug. But I said once before, all of my books that I've written, I don't have my books out here. For those of you who may be joining us, I'm the guy that wrote the Stone Mott series. And I'll put the link. The links are always down below if you haven't read them. The Stone Mott series, down in the section down there, there's a place for you to, if you want to join us on Patreon, if you want to see my books, you can come to our website, stonemont.us. That's where you can, see and buy my books or T-shirts or mugs. By the way, I have got orders for mugs and T-shirts up to here I haven't been able to get to since over a week ago. And I know I'm going to be spending my weekend doing that. Lucky to be able to do so. I like it. But I've said before that as I wrote those books, a lot of my mind was in that when I'm no longer here, my kids are going to be able to read those books and see what Dad thought. I packed those full of life lessons. That's why traditional people like my books. A lot of non-traditional people don't like my books. Tough. I write about the traditional values. It's about the collapse of the world and how to rebuild community through family and faith and friendship and things. And I write about it. And I write those books as almost textbooks to my kids. They're a good story. They don't read like a textbook, but so that they'll read it and they'll hear me talk about the history of our country, how our country was formed, why it was formed that way, the nature of government, the nature of communities, the importance of faith in God, how to deal with people, good and bad, all these things. So to that extent, I've done everything I can to this point to satisfy those two, love and leadership. So when I looked at all those, and I've been thinking about this, I've been laying in my fever bed. There'd be times I'd be laying there in a sweat-soaked bed at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'd be thinking about this. And I saw, okay, I've done the best I can up till now. But I want to do better. I want to have more time to do better and to do more. And so by the grace of God, if He gives me that time, I'm going to do it. These things are important, I think. These are times to take stock and to take a look. Have you done everything you can? Are there any of those? And you can use those if you'd like. You can use the, provide, protect, love, and lead. There are others I'm sure that you could use. You can think of your own. Are there any areas that you could do more for those who you may leave behind? Spouses, children, grandchildren. Is there more you can do? Is there more you can build on that foundation for them? And it is our responsibility, in my opinion, to do it if we can. So, by all looks of things, I should be fine. And thank you so much again for all of your well wishes and your thoughts and your prayers. The effective, fervent prayers of a righteous man, right, availeth much. I believe in prayer. I believe in the power of prayer, and I appreciate all of yours. So God bless you all. Remember that we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow, and I might suggest that one of the things you might do to prepare will be to sit down, take a little time, and go through those four things and ask yourself, have you done all you can? Because if there's more that you can do, it'd be good to get at it, because you never know when your time's going to come. Okay? You all have a good night. And I'm glad to be back, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.